If you've got a 25 Creedmoor and you want to load top quality ammo, Peterson Brass is a great option, and that's what we're going to cover in depth in this story. Hey guys, Gavin Gear here from UltimateReloader.com. 25 Creedmoor has officially hit the streets, SAAMI certified in 2025. It's new, and I know there's a lot of interest in this cartridge. Why 25 Creedmoor? Well, 25 Creedmoor is going to split the difference between 6mm Creedmoor, which is a known barrel burner, but is also a laser, very popular in shooting sports like PRS, and the 6.5 Creedmoor, which is going to introduce a little more recoil and throw you off target, right? It's not about being a man able to handle the recoil. It's really about maintaining sight picture, spotting misses, spotting hits, and being able to shoot off of a barricade without the rifle getting thrown around, right? So 25 Creedmoor really manages those trade-offs. A bit more barrel life. It's going to be better in the wind than a 6mm Creedmoor. It's going to recoil less compared to the 6.5 Creedmoor. It also makes a great hunting cartridge, but that's probably a topic for another video. Let's talk about the 25 Creedmoor SAAMI certification. So what this does is it establishes the geometry of the chamber, it establishes the geometry of the cartridge itself, it provides a recommended twist rate, and it really enables the industry to align around those parameters so that factory rifles, factory ammunition, and then components like what we've got here, the Peterson 25 Creedmoor Brass, can all be brought to market and all work together properly. This is a really critical aspect of a cartridge becoming more mainstream, which 25 Creedmoor did this year. So the short story on this is it's got everything the 6.5 Creedmoor has, but it has a smaller neck that's slightly longer to accommodate 25 caliber bullets. It's got the same 308 dimensioned case rim. So your reloading equipment, your rifle bolt are going to work with a 308 spec setup in a short action. It also has all of the advantages that 6.5 Creedmoor has with a 30-degree shoulder. It's got low body taper. The shoulder is pushed back compared to something like a 308, optimized for high BC, long bullets feeding out of a short action. I think personally 25 Creedmoor is a great all-rounder, and I really enjoy shooting it. It also is a tack driver from my experience with 2 rifle builds now. So 1 in 7.5 is the recommended twist rate, which is what we've used here, and 25 caliber bullets are becoming more popular, especially in these high BC bullet categories where the 25 Creedmoor can really take full advantage of those new bullets. We tested 3 different bullets in this story, which we'll go over in depth, and all 3 of them performed really well. Let me talk about the rifle real quick. Now we've got an entire story about this rifle build, including some of the initial shooting results. I'm using what's new to me here, a 1934 Armory BE1 Action. This is a really great sub-$1,000 action. It's got an integral 20 MOA rail, integral lug. It can be set up with a quick switch. Really, really nice finish on it. And you know, in terms of bang for the buck, I think this is a really hard action to beat. We've got a custom rifle barrels, heavy profile, 1 in 7.5 twist barrel blank. I've got a Foundation Genesis 2 stock, a Bixen Andy trigger, Hawkins Precision M5 DBM. This is an absolutely awesome rifle. We've also got the Telson Target Master. This is the 5-25 by 56 scope. Really, really good setup. Okay, so let's talk shooting results. I did a bunch of shooting at 100 yards to do some different load level workups to evaluate this brass and multiple bullets, and of course the rifle as well. Here was my sight in target. This is what I absolutely love to see. I got on paper by just looking down the bore and making sure that what I saw down the bore agreed with what I saw through the rifle scope. I did a quick dial, got almost a perfect 0 here, and shots 2, 3, and 4 through the rifle went into 0.237 inches. This is using the 131 grain blackjack bullet, and we're using 42.6 grains of Hodgdon H4350. This was the load that I arrived at from my first rifle build. So I did some more shooting with that particular load, the 42.6 grains of H4350. We had an average velocity of 29.33.5. That's cooking with an SD of 10.1. Average group size of 0.450. That was the 3-shot group averaged with the 5-shot group. So for the rest of the load workups, I switched to N555 from Vitivari, which is a very similar burn rate powder, very good for Creedmoor cartridges, like the 6.5 Creedmoor, like the 25 Creedmoor. And so I initially did my work with the Blackjack 131. That was just what I had used last time. I thought I would try 2 additional high BC 25 caliber bullets, the Hornady 138 grain A-tip and the Berger 135 grain hybrid target. So the A-tip bullets, they did really well. My average group size was 0.462 inches, and my charge weights varied from 42 to 43 to 44.1 grains, essentially, and we saw velocities ranging from the mid 2700s up to the mid 2800 range. Really tight SDs. If you take a look down that column, we had 2 loads with 7.0 foot per second SD. And again, the groups were really great. We had groups ranging from 0.288 up to 0.603. And that kind of performance is really great and something that we could definitely work with in terms of continuing down the process of working up a load and probably finding something that would consistently shoot, I'm guessing, in the 0.3 to 0.4 range. Again, I did a handful of groups here. My thought process was start with 3-shot groups, look at the group size in the SD, and then if I like the load, then shoot a 5-shot group. And once I get a 5-shot group that's going to shoot consistently with the right group size and the right consistency on the velocity, that's a load that I can move forward with. Then I moved on to the 135 grain hybrid target from Berger. And here, overall, the results were a little bit better. I started with 43.7 grains of N555. That yielded 2910.3 feet per second. It's a really strong performer there with an 11 foot per second standard deviation and just over half-inch group size. Then I went up to 44.1, and this was when the magic happened. I'm going to show you that group. That's a group. Wow. So here we're at 2,934 feet per second with an SD of 7.1 and a 3-shot group size of 0.113. This is getting good. But when I did a 5-shot group with that load, I had an SD of 12.5, still 2,930 feet per second average velocity. The group increased to 0.619, and that was because I got a flyer. Not sure exactly what happened here. It could have been me, not totally sure. So I decided, what if we take it up just a little bit more, go up to 44.3, so 0.2 more grains, and I went straight to a 5-shot group. Had a decent SD of 16.4, but all 5 shots went into 0.335. Let's take a look at that group. Nice. That's a winner right there. So with Berger's 135 hybrid target, we had an average group size of 0.413. And my feeling is, if I'm just looking at group size, I'm going to probably go further down the load development route with these 135s. Probably reshoot the 44.1 and 44.3 grain groups of N555. Maybe adjust seating depth a little bit to just kind of hone in on a totally optimal load. But looking at all of the data, we had an average group size all up of 0.444, so easily sub half MOA, and that performance is awesome. So after all of our field shooting, I deployed Kyle Shields on our team to do some lab testing. And this is along the lines of all of the other brass consistency testing that we've done. And it basically amounts to getting weight consistency, length consistency, and case neck thickness consistency. These three parameters are going to give us insights into the consistency of the brass. So this is kind of crazy. Length consistency, we averaged 1.9083 inches for case length here. The standard deviation on that was 3/10,000ths of an inch. That's 0.0003 inches. That is super duper consistent. We had an extreme spread of 1/1000th of an inch on those cases. Tremendous. For weight consistency, we averaged 164.68 grains for a particular case, and that standard deviation was 0.31 grains. So 1 grain is 1/7000th of a pound. This is a very, very small variation. Extreme spread of 1.04 grains. Super tight on that. Case neck thickness was right at where I would expect this brass to be, just over 14/1000ths of an inch, 14.14 thousandths of an inch, with a standard deviation of basically 6/10,000ths of an inch, an extreme spread of 2.1 thousandths of an inch. So case neck thickness uniformity, consistency is a really important number, and this brass did super well there. So at the end of the day, I've become a huge fan of Peterson Brass. We used it with the 375 Tack, we used it with the 280 AI, and other projects, and every time it has performed super duper well. For something like 25 Creedmoor, it's great that you can get this brass off the shelf. For my previous rifle build, I would either neck up 6 Creedmoor or neck down 6.5 Creedmoor. And what I really hate about that is the fact that the head stamp is wrong. When I pick up my brass, we shoot a ton of different bottleneck rifle cartridges. It can be very difficult to tell, is this what it actually purports to be, or has it been necked up or down, right? These wildcat scenarios can get a little bit confusing. So yes, we could do a little bit more due diligence cleaning up the range, but it's nice to be able to sort through a couple rifles worth of shooting, you know, those odd cases that fly here and there, keeping track of your load data, looking at your dirty brass. It's just really, really nice to have the proper head stamp on the brass. What we tested with was small rifle primer, but it's great that Peterson offers both small rifle primer pockets and large rifle primer pockets. It's your choice. If I'm hunting in cold weather, I'm going to prefer the large rifle primers because they have a little bit more energy, you know, when you're down there in those sub-zero temperatures for reliable ignition. For all other shooting, I'm likely to favor small rifle primers because they are more pressure tolerant, and it is kind of across the board what we keep in our priming tools here. So that's another extra convenience. Peterson has a number of different offerings in the Creedmoor lineup. I believe all of the common ones. So you've got your 22 Creedmoor, your 6mm Creedmoor, your 25 Creedmoor, and your 6.5 Creedmoor, right? And with small and rifle primer options as well. So if you're looking for brass for your Creedmoor or for a lot of other cartridges, including specialty cartridges, go over to the Peterson Brass website and check out what they've got. Really, really good stuff. Now, we're planning more stories with Peterson, and if you have anything in particular out of their lineup that you're interested in having us take a look at, please let us know. That concludes this video, and that means it's time to wrap it up. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're watching Ultimate Reloader on TV and want to take advantage of free resources, exclusives, and hot deals, just hold your camera phone up to the QR code, tap on the link, fill out the information, boom, you're getting Ultimate Reloader emails. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, we're on Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, where we've got unrestricted content, and Instagram. Make sure to follow us on all those channels. Ultimate Reloader also has a commercial solutions division serving law enforcement, the military, and the gun industry. We have some unique capabilities, including a comprehensive suite of recoil testing and evaluation capabilities, trigger profiling, and more. Thanks again for watching.